Hello everyone, welcome. We are here for Art Night. We had a quick little intro there, music by me. I tried that out last week, and we might continue doing that, it depends. Hopefully you like it. Maybe we'll change it up. But welcome to Art Night. Now, if you weren't with us last week there was a conversation about my writing, and there was also kind of a conversation about some of my characters. And we started this wonderful homage, which you should be able to see on your screen here. This wonderful homage to my characters, to a few of them in particular. We're going to continue working on this painting, and we're going to talk more about fiction, and about fun, and about writing, and all of these wonderful things. But before I get too far ahead, I am your Saturday Night. Welcome to Art Night. A quick visual descriptor. I have long brown hair, glasses, I got a dark red lipstick on, a blue shirt. We are here in my studio, library, streaming space, my all-encompassing room of fun and stuff, and all these things that we do here. And if you've never joined me before for a weekend stream, welcome. And if you're joining again, welcome back. So welcome back if you've been here before, or welcome if it's your first time. Either way. A little sip right there, little sip. I always have to have my drink. It is a necessity for these paint nights. But for also just streaming in general, I have to have a drink somewhere nearby. I just have to. What is a stream without a drink? And depending on where you're joining me, in the description or chat or somewhere, you're going to end up seeing links for where you can find me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, my website, and 2 of my stories available through Kindle Vella. But I'm going to share that all again a little bit more as we go along. But I just wanted to tell everybody really quick about one fun thing, and you're just going to see this pop up on the screen. So I'm just on the screen. You're going to see the address, the URL for my website and digital gallery, but you're also going to see something else, and that's code Arttober. What is Arttober? Well, it's art and October. And you can use code Arttober to save 10% on any purchase made through my digital gallery for the rest of the month. So I'm just leave that up for another second. Alright. And I'll be sharing more about that, and we're going to be talking more about a bunch of other things. It's going to be really fun, like really fun. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And, what can I say? I like to have a lot of fun. I like to just enjoy some time painting with all of you. I like to get on here and share as much as is possible. There will be a link in chat really quick for 2 of my stories available through Kindle Vella, and that's 30 Days in the Apocalypse with Dr. Ciencio Magnifico, a satirical comedy sci-fi apocalypse dystopian mishmash of fun and action and wonderful tongue-in-cheek comedy and commentary on our modern world. But there's also Kindly Can We Go? And Kindly Can We Go is a story about friendship, but it is also an urban fantasy. There's mystery, there's uncomfortableness, there's people trying to figure out their lives, and a whole lot more. All while a mysterious shadow begins entering the home of our 2 protagonists as they try to get on with their lives. A whole lot of mystery. You can read both of those on Kindle Vella, and until October 11th, you can actually unlock up to 100 episodes a day for free. That's not something I'm doing, that's something that Kindle Vella is doing right now. So, from October 5th to October 11th, they have this fun little special. You can just go ahead and unlock episodes. Normally, you only get to read the first 3 episodes of any story for free, and everyone after that you have to unlock with tokens, which you can purchase through the app. But right now, if you sign up to Kindle Vella, you can get 200 bonus tokens, but you can also unlock as many episodes pretty much as you want. I mean, depending on how much you read every day. Just tons and tons of episodes. You can unlock all those stories and read all that stuff for free. And you can you can follow, and you can leave reviews as soon as you're done. So please check out my stories and and follow and leave a review. Alright, let's talk about this painting here. And I'm going to stay up here for just a moment longer before the paint starts happening, because I definitely want to make sure that you can hear me properly. I'm going to speak up as we go along, and if at any point in time we need to adjust the sound, just let me know. Say so in the comments, and I would appreciate it. But I do also have captions on, so captions should be available depending on where you're joining me. You're going to be able to see those, or turn them on if you want. Now, let's talk about fiction, and the kind of homage I'm doing to my own characters. This combination of aesthetics, of feels, of ideas. Both 30 Days in the Apocalypse with Dr. Ciencio Magnifico and Kindly Can We Go share female protagonists. They have women pretty much right in the forefront of the story. They are not just a side portion of the narrative, they are a big portion of the narrative. And, that's just an awesome thing in general anyway. But I also was touching upon my other character, or another one of my characters, Ruby, from In Absentia. And In Absentia is also another story with lots of women characters, lots of female characters, lots of this other side of the coin. And when I say the other side of the coin, what I'm really referring in fantasy, and I'm not saying all fantasy, I'm not calling anyone specific out or anything, but in fantasy and in fiction, there definitely is this small truth that a lot of the women in these stories, or at least for a really long time, they played side roles. And other than just playing side roles, oftentimes they weren't heroes. Now, in science fiction, we have a huge tradition of strong female protagonists. Like in science fiction, yes. In fantasy, and I'm not saying all fantasy, I'm just saying, like, in the bulk of fantasy, there's definitely really a very male-focused gaze. And one of the things that I really enjoy is with these stories and with other ones that I'm starting to work on, I'm really going for giving us fully developed, deep, and interesting characters, such as Kindly herself, Kitty Ram from 30 Days in the Apocalypse, Ruby from In Absentia, and actually there's a bunch of characters in Absentia that I could touch on, but it's one of those things, like, we need these characters. And I'm not saying that, like, collectively we all need these characters, but I'm saying, like, I need these characters. I need these characters because growing up in, like, the 80s and 90s, I really had just such a heavy influence of lots and lots and lots of these cookie-cutter heroes. And had enough of it. And I'm not saying that I've had enough of, like, the characters. No, because there's a lot of great characters. But I started doing it in my own writing, producing lots and lots of potentially very stereotypical character archetypes. And then it's like, oh no, what are we doing? This is awful. So, I want to celebrate these new characters, and I want to celebrate other characters I've created along the way. And this painting, this character design that we're doing, that we started last weekend, and we're going to continue doing, it's an homage to those characters. So, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look. We used a bunch of really good colors last week, and we're going to use a bunch of really good colors this week. Just going to have some fun, right? Right. I mean, I think that's a necessary thing, having some fun. But let's start off. What are we going to do? How are we going to explore our new character, our character pastiche, our character amalgam, our homage? What should we do? Of course, we've already created this beautiful scene. In this scene, we have our character looking off in the distance, looking at what could be like a ruined cityscape far off, in this wonderful, like, valley, maybe. And our character's just kind of looking off at that. And we have this little stick here. Not sure exactly what that's going to be, but we're going to find out. It's fun. It's different. And, of course, here's our character. Their long, beautiful pink hair. I love this pink hair. I had pink hair, like, a decade ago. It was a dye job mistake, but I really liked the way it looked. So that's what we're doing. We're giving our character this wonderful pink hair, and she's got her backpack and kind of like this very 90s style leather jacket, or just like biker jacket. I like it. It's really fun. Now that we've covered all that, we have some great choices we can make here. We have these Denim Jeans, which we really need to get worked and give these a texture. Right now they're looking really distressed and really basic. But we have these wonderful denim jeans. We have this wonderful backpack that's kind of like almost heavy, weighed down, low slung, very small straps. Some sort of trail bag, right? We have this amazingly surreal abstract sky with this bright blue and these oranges and yellows just kind of moving down into horizon. And we have these buildings, and these are really super rough right now, you know. And then I kind of am imagining that our character has like one thumb in like a front pocket, and then maybe this hand also, like the thumb's in a pocket. You know, the kind of like, there's more bend on this arm than this one. So maybe one thumb's in the belt, and then the other thumb's in the pocket. You know, and then we kind of have like the outline of what the hand is right here. You know, and we have this light wind coming through. Well, maybe it's not a light wind. It's actually a good enough wind to move all of this long hair. Moving it, getting it out, and just flowing. Flowing. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Well, that's a great question. Let's go ahead. Start a little exploration here. First, I'm going to pick a color. And, you know, there's a lot of colors that we could go to. But I'm going to pick, like, a darker color. Because I actually want to fix something here. Because these legs, they're good. They don't look quite right to me. I don't know if her pants are hanging down too far. Or, like, the back of them's too far. Like they're lowriders or something. Or what it is. I want to fix this really quick. We got some great dark shadows here, but I want to fix right in here. Give that a little more shape, and then let's start texturing these jeans. There's lots of ways that we could do it. I'm actually going to start by using this Cerulean Blue from Got a Deal. It's a wonderful glossy acrylic paint. It's number 36, and I'll put that up in the camera frame. Hopefully you see that right. But that's a Cerulean Blue. We're going to actually start with that. And I'm just going to add some of this right to our canvas. Well, not right to the canvas. Let me shake that up a little bit. Shake it up. Shake it up. I don't actually want a lot of it, just enough. Okay, that's a good amount. That's a good amount. I like that. So we have this wonderful Cerulean Blue. I'm going to take a number 4 angle brush. Get some of this blue on here. So you can see my brush. This is a number 4 angle brush. So it's kind of a smaller angled brush. It's really nice. Then I'm just going to get some blue on here. I'm not going to have all that blue on there right now. Well, actually, no, I am. I do want a fair amount. Just a fair amount of blue. And the first thing I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to start to create some shading and some shape in here. You know, just get a little bit of this in there. And I'm going to kind of remove some of that paint. And then we're going to just streak it in. Because I want to distress this slightly. You know, I want to create some visual interest here. So I'm actually going to be using very little paint, but I'm going to start to layer it in. And then I'm going to streak it out a little bit. We're just getting this in here. And now, I'm not going to bother to change brush. A little bit of Liquitex ink, this carbon black. This carbon black, it's wonderful. It's from Liquitex ink. I'm going to grab some of this. And we're going to get a little bit of that in here. Not a lot, not a lot. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because I actually want to stain and put undertone in here. But I want to do it before the blue all sets in. So I'm going to get some of this black. Same brush, same brush. And what I'm doing here is I'm adding more definition to the pre-existing shapes. Just adding some more definition to them. And then I'm going to put kind of a seam line in here. Now, the reason I'm using this number 4 angle brush, you can see I can get fine lines in. These nice fine lines. You know, so that's actually what I'm doing primarily right now, is I'm trying to get these fine lines in. And then I'm also going to start creating some shadows, some distress. So starting to just add more layer and depth to this. Just more layer, more depth. And then come up here. While we're at it, I'm going to add a little more depth to the jacket. Being a little aggressive with my brush. Just aggressive with the tip of it here. While we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to build some base shading for what would be the bag. Because of course it has to open some way, right? Let's just start building that. And once I go back, I'm going to end up removing some of this darkening that I'm doing right now. So some of this is gonna go away. Some of it is going to stay. But we're just starting to build up our texture and build up a lot of our detail. Streak a little more of that black. I know we got those jeans really bright last time, but I want to kind of take some of that brightness out. We're going to put more in. And I'm going to take the same angle brush, get some of our Cerulean Blue. Once I have some of that on here, I'm going to remove a bit, but... And then I'm going to start to mix that in with this black that we've already been laying down. And that's going to start to create shadows. You can see now, like, there's some shadow building up. One of the big reasons I want to do this is I really want to start our preliminary detail. Now we're starting to get more of that initial depth. Does it look muddy right now? Yeah, it looks muddy, but don't worry, that's okay. And that's kind of something that we want. Already, there's a big difference just in our basic structure. And all we've done is add 2 colors to this, but like right now, I've already created an undertone where we're going to have more shadow here on the jeans. And I've started to add in some distress and some multi-layered texture. That's a big thing. It's a big thing that you really want to see. And yes, I'm still on. I'm still on. Yes, I am. I'm still on. Now, we used some nutmeg brown last time, and I'm going to use that again. And this is my nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel. Nice acrylic. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting some highlight areas into a few areas with this. Now, this is dark, but it's wonderful. And I'm going to get another angle brush. Let's see, which one do I want? I want another number 4, actually. I want another number 4. So I'm going to get another number 4 angle brush. For those of you who are just joining me, do not forget, thank you so much. Do not forget, there's going to be links in the description for my Twitch, my Instagram, my Twitter, my website, and 2 stories available through Kindle Vella, 2 of my stories, which there's this cool special right now with Kindle Vella. You can unlock almost as many episodes as you want to read. Now, normally you could only unlock the first 3 episodes for free of any story. Up until October 11th, you can unlock up to 100 a day for free. It's awesome. So check out my stories, leave a review, like and follow. It would mean the world to me. I'd be so happy. Oh, and actually, hold on. I can't forget this. I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. If you go to my website and digital gallery, the address is going to be on the screen. If you go there and use code ARTTOBER, you get 10% off any of my art prints, originals, or new stuff that's coming out. Because I'm moving all of my merch, like t-shirts and everything. It's all going to go on my website soon. So, you know, it's all going to be there. So feel free, use code ARTTOBER to get prints, originals, all sorts of fun stuff from now until the end of October. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Alright, so let's get a little bit of this. And again, I'm using a number 4 angle brush, and I'm using some of this nutmeg brown. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just using it to feather in some darkness in these light areas. Because we really need to build out this midground. We got to build out this wonderful midground. And I'm going to do that with some nutmeg brown. We're going to add more colors. And if my hand is in the way, feel free to say, hey, I can't see what you're doing, and I'll change hands. I like this nutmeg brown. I really like it. But we really have to build up our midground, you know, really get some nice texture going on here. And that's what we're doing. We're building up some of our texture. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to smear some of that out. Oh, the plans I have here. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. We're going to start to build up in here a little. Oh, I'm having a good time. I'm having a great time, and I hope you are too. Really getting this mid-ground in here is just so important as we build up what is our wonderful ruined beauty. Ruined beauty. Oh, I'm so happy that everybody's looking at all this. This is great. But thank you for stopping in. I know everybody's busy. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. But we've added a whole bunch here. We're going to keep adding in. But I'm adding more of this wonderful nutmeg brown so we can build up our midground. But I have some fun ideas here as we add this in. And I'm just kind of brushing it super light. Super light in here. That's the plan. That's the plan. Super light. Super light. As we start to really flesh things out. Really flesh them out nice. Alright, now that I have some of that on there, not even going to wait. Not even going to wait. Hold on. Brush. We're going to put that here. Yeah. Meet my friend Yellow Oxide. This is Yellow Oxide. It's a Liquitex ink. I'm going to hold that up for the other camera. Liquitex ink This is yellow oxide. It's kind of a, I don't know, kind of a mustardy color, a little mustardy yellow. Really fun. And this one's a Liquitex acrylic ink. I love these acrylic inks, but we're going to get this one. And I'm going to then take this and we're going to go back to our midground because I want to create glow. Where am I going to create glow, you might ask? Well, just you wait and see. Now, because it's this wonderful mustard, this yellow oxide, kind of a rusty yellow. And actually, I'm gonna get a number 2 flat brush for this. Number 2 flat brush. So we're gonna take this wonderful yellow oxide with our number 2 flat brush, and because we have this really bright yellow in here towards our kind of our center, I'm actually going to start dragging that out a little bit, and that's going to start to come over these edges, kind of like it's highlighted, kind of like it's alive, burning a little bit. I don't know, you know. We're just going to add this really quick. I'm not going to be really super precise with it, but I am going to drag it down. This is not about precision right now. It's about adding this in. And I'm going to start to get it up here on this ridge. Pull down here. Pull down here. Pull down here. And then I'm going to get it a little bit onto our other flame yellow, our yellow flame up here. Get it up there a little bit. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and get it on the other side. Get this wonderful yellow oxide on here. Get it really, I kind of want to almost scribble it on. I'm going to scribble it. And then I'm going to drag that all down. Let's go ahead, let's scribble these edges again. Maybe there's a lot of body over there that's just being lit up. Scribble it in here, right? Let's go ahead like that. And then let's get some of this up here. Oh, almost into the blue. Into the blue. And then I'm going to actually start creating these weird little fun lines here. Just a little bit of this yellow oxide. I'm going to get some of that right off. But we're about to scribble it in. Scribble in some of these lines. Scribble in some of these lines. Scribble in. Scribble in. Scribble. Scribble. Just scribbling them in. Scribble, scribble. Alright, and then, let's see. Now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to start spreading a little bit of it on here. Don't worry. It's all going to make sense. It's all going to make sense. All of it. Happy little trees. Well, that we might not get. We're probably not going to get any happy little trees. But let's tell a story. And actually, we're going to tell a very specific story right now because this homage to my characters that I've created, it has a lot of roots. Has a lot of roots, deep ones. I'm going to go ahead and grab a different flat brush really quick because I want to go ahead and get a little bit more of this nutmeg brown. And then, so, let's tell the story. And the story that I'm going to tell right now is about the concept of these characters. And for those of you who haven't read any of my work or my books or any of my stories, this will be a nice primer. All of my characters, all of my stories, they started with one initial concept. When I was a little kid, tiny little thing, my grandparents owned a bar, hotel, and restaurant in the middle of the Adirondacks. You had to go there by boat or hiking several days through the mountains. There was the only two choices. Travel by boat over a lake or hike for several days over the mountains. And that experience, spending summers in complete isolation, more or less, just seeing the people who would come to the restaurant in the evening, or seeing the Boy Scouts that would come through for lunch, the old vets that would come for drinks in the evening. This started to develop my sense of storytelling quite spectacularly, actually. And you could say a lot of these characters are deeply informed by the experiences I had hearing the stories of others, but nothing more so than that feeling of isolation and that feeling of being far away from the world in so many ways, being removed. And it was actually when I felt that removal, that absolute being cut off, that I started to really form as a writer. I started to really develop as a creator. And even though decades have gone by, and that's just wild to think, decades have gone by since I was in the middle of nowhere, like the absolute middle of nowhere, where bears and wolves and trees were your neighbors, where I changed the bedding on cabin beds and bunk beds, where I waited tables for my grandparents in their restaurant. Even though I'm so far removed from that, I'm still right there. I'm still right there. And one of the things which is just amazing about that concept of being so very much still right there is that there's nothing I can do that will ever, ever, ever take me out of that place. And that's, in 1,000 ways, how I created New Amsterdam. And of course, you've heard the name New Amsterdam before. I'm sure a lot of people have. But New Amsterdam is something specific for me. It's not just a place, it's a feeling. And this feeling was magic, and it was questions, and it was isolation, and it was mystery, and it was not knowing what that sound was, what that feeling was. And as I grew up, I looked at my world through a very particular lens that morphed and changed until New Amsterdam became something very specific. It was It was a darkness and a hope. It was a focus on the dying of the light and the birth of so many new things. Now, you're going to see a link for Kindly Can We Go. That's one of several stories I have that takes place in New Amsterdam. And there's a huge theming in New Amsterdam. Like, just tremendously huge theming. And one of the biggest themes about it is social justice. What do I mean by that? Let's be fair. Someone can say social justice, but what does that mean? And social justice, when it comes to New Amsterdam, is the lack thereof. You see, we look at the world, we see what's there, but we oftentimes miss that our worlds are unique unto us, that our experiences in that world can greatly differ from one person to another. And within New Amsterdam, I began to explore the boundaries of the walls of our understanding. And I created a gray world. Things are not black and white. Things are nuanced and deep and confusing, and we can get lost. We can forget who the good guys and the bad guys are, or maybe there's none. We can villainize victims in a heartbeat. Let me say that one more time. We can villainize the victim in a heartbeat. It's become so popular to have sympathetic villains in the 21st century. But what about unsympathetic victims? And what about villains of perception? What about when the structure you exist in is designed for someone else? It's not for you. You're just trying to exist in it. That's what the people of New Amsterdam live in. This fictional world. I've just added some Liquitex white ink with a number 2 round brush, just so you know. There is no singularly defined thing when it comes to my books and my stories. I don't present you with characters and say this is a good one, this is a bad one. I present you with their perspectives on one another. I don't expect that my books will be popular with everyone because darkness lingers. It sits. It lives and breathes within the characters. If you're to start any one of my stories, the new episodic tale, Kindly Can We Go, will probably be the easiest entry for you. Focusing on 2 women, friends living together, and mystery and magic and a slow revealing of the harder light of this fictional urban fantasy world. I'm not saying that all the stories aren't good. I'm just saying that kindly can we go as a softer entry point compared to, say, the Without the Light series, which also takes place partially within New Amsterdam. Yes, it features protagonists who are two queer individuals living in a very large city and dealing with very human problems. These two women, these two friends, are just trying to exist, but they have to deal with things like eviction and work and day-to-day life and trying to survive. You know what else they have to deal with? Not knowing how to form proper relationships with other people. Not being able to get through a day without a few too many drinks at the end of it. I'm not saying that's the right way to live. I'm just saying that's how they live. Is that rooted in a lot of my own life? Of course it is. And for those of you who are watching for the painting, I've just taken some wonderful fuchsia and I've started to put that over top of the white, trying to build more depth to our character's hair. So this is the fuchsia. It's wonderful fuchsia from Apple Barrel. But oh, oof, yes. Oh, that's a conversation and a half. Now, it goes without saying that almost any one of my stories that you read, you're probably going to encounter some sort of fantasy element. Real monsters, real magic, things to be afraid of. But it's all rooted in these bigger, far more frightening ideas. What makes them so frightening? What makes trying to figure out if you want someone in your life or if you don't so hard? It's something Kindly struggles with. She wants to have a relationship, but she also keeps everyone at arm's length. She wants to help her friend Lacey and give her a place to stay, but Lacey also is a very difficult person for her to deal with because she wants her personal space. Kindly wants her personal space. And because they're friends, Kindly helps Lacey, gives her a place to stay when she's evicted from her apartment. But she's also driven a little up the wall by having someone else in her space. There's some bright yellow from Apple Barrel. We're going to add some of this. Get another angle brush. And Lacey is really bad with boundaries, but also incredibly grateful. She's sometimes a bit needy, but at the same time is genuinely just happy to spend time with her friend. She's organized but leaves a mess. She's absent-minded, but the thing that seems to be her biggest concern in the beginning of the story is just spending time with her friend. It's wild. And it's fun. Currently, episode 8 is as far as it goes, but episode 9 will be coming out very soon. So here's some of this wonderful bright yellow. Let's add some of this, because I actually want to do just a few of these streaks with this angle brush. I deal far more with friendship and relationships of that sort in my stories than I do romance, but it all depends on the story. Thank you so much. Thank you. Trying to tell the best stories possible, but also trying to tell good stories that are stories I wish I could have read in my life, that I could have experienced or come across when I was younger. Stories that emphasize things that were important or would have been important when I was growing up to know. That can be a wonderful thing. But also remaining morally ambiguous, because I don't like when characters are complete paragons of a single virtue. There's a lot of reasons I don't like it. I'm going to actually use yellow as my undercoat. I'm just going to use that as the undercoat for the skin, because I want that skin to be really bright when we finally layer over top of it. And then, let's actually go ahead. We're going to take some of this bright yellow and we're going to start to make little patches up here, right in this center, because I want that to be really where the light's pouring in. Let's go ahead and get some more of this. I don't necessarily want to have paragons of virtue. You find those in a lot of stories. People who, they're just good because they're good. They're unflappable, unsinkable. Get some of this bright yellow in here too. Get some of that down here actually. Maybe some of that brightness has worked its way all the way down here. Good paintings take time, just like good friendships, good relationships, good stories. There's where I was looking for. Parrot blue. Parrot blue. Here we go. Parrot blue. This is another apple barrel paint. But yeah. I don't ever want to tell a story that has just one level, just one layer. I think that'd be a disservice to myself, absolutely every reader. It'd be an absolute disservice. So with this parrot blue, I'm going to come back in. I'm going to start to distress these jeans again with a number 2 flat brush. Let me talk about some more of my characters. I know, we have a focus here, and it's this character, but I have some great characters, some fun characters. other than just Lacey and Kindly, there's the entirety of everyone from In Absentia and Without the Light. There's Courtney Rubel. He's the primary character of my novel series Without the Light. And Courtney is sometimes a very thinly veiled, sometimes very thickly veiled analogy of a trans individual. Trigger warning for a lot of people, just so you know. His story is not always easy. And when you first meet Courtney, it's when Courtney is attempting to end his existence, as it were. I'm trying to think of the best way to word that for every platform I'm on right now. Courtney goes from thinly and sometimes very heavily veiled analogy for trans experience to also very large focal lens for things like substance abuse and other difficulties I've had in my own life. And a lot of my characters have these multiple roles. They're not just one thing or another. They're not just one person or another. They're a wide array of experiences, many of which are my own experiences, as difficult as they might be for some people to hear. I need to tell them. Absolutely have to tell them. Kindly is the difficulty I had in my life trying to figure out how friendships work, how relationships work, trying to deal with my desire for escapism. She goes out every night to clubs and she drinks wine alone in her apartment and stays up late watching movies from the 1940s and 50s. Lacey is me too. Or at least experiences I've had. And I know that sounds kind of... it can sound kind of strange to hear, but let's be fair, what writer doesn't use their own experiences to guide their stories? Lacey eats strange food. Can't seem to organize her clothes, but has all of her books neat and tidy. Eats noodles for breakfast. Makes sandwiches with waffles. They're people. I'm going to mix a little bit of this white and this parrot blue together because I want to do a couple highlights in here. I'm going to come back and darken that in afterwards. But I just wanted that there. I'm going to darken that in later. But while I have this wonderful white, I'm going to get another flat brush really quick. A couple things I want to highlight. I'm going to take this white here None. I'm just going to make a highlight right there. Want people to know. Want people to see. I'm going to just drag that out. Just something fun, something different. Let's go ahead and Alright, now let's go over to the other one. Other side here. Starting to add more and more depth as we go along, right? Whew. Look at all this depth and interest we're getting. And then while I have this, I'm actually just going to go ahead. We're going to start to add some more geometry to our bag. More geometry, more geometry. Sometimes that's all you need. Just a little bit of texture and a little bit of geometry. A little bit of physical intrigue. Oh. Now what's going on? What's going on with our bag now? And I'm going to go in, I'm going to add more. Like as we keep moving along, more and more is going to happen here. More and more is going to come around. Have a little drink. I actually see something else I want to do really quick, so let's do that. But I'll tell you what. Something that's been incredibly satisfying for me as an artist is finding new ways to tell my stories. Finding new perspectives to lend to our characters. And new ways to show the complexities of people. Look at that. That has a little depth now too. While I'm at it, let's go ahead. I want to go. You know, I was hoping I'd be done with this today, but we might not be. And I think that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Oh my goodness. Now, we've been doing a lot today. I mean, it goes without saying, right? It goes without saying. So much, so much. I'm going to share again in our chat links to where you can read some of my stories. Oh my goodness, though, like, this painting has already taken on so much more life. I'm going to do a couple more things before we leave today, but... Oh. I talk about the hard things when I'm telling stories. I find it kind of interesting to try to translate those conversations into conversations that we have here. It gets hard, so hard, because let's be fair, a lot of the time it feels like we're not supposed to have these conversations. Like, there's something wrong about getting deep. So it can be difficult to find how I'm supposed to balance those things. But at the end of the day, I write about social injustice and inequality, and I write about magic, and I write about sorcery and monsters. I write about the apocalypse, and I write about far off alien landscapes, and I write about worlds that are a living hell. I write about trans identity, and I write about existing in an outsider's life. I write about being able to pass off yourself as a normal person. I know that just sounds so horrible too. I can't believe I said it that way. Pass yourself off as everyone else. How about that? Yeah, that's right. And I write about being divided and torn. I write about people who do very bad things, sometimes for very good reasons, and I write about people who do seemingly good things for horribly selfish reasons. I write about bad days and good days, and finding love and finding friends and finding acceptance. I write about people who can't wrap their mind around who they're supposed to be, or why they're supposed to be that person. I write about finding space for yourself and adventure. I write about people whose worlds are turned upside down because just one person decided they didn't deserve the same chances as everyone else. And yeah, these situations are not always realistic. And sometimes they're far too realistic. And I think the majority of everything I write should come with a trigger warning. It might be upsetting to you. It might be upsetting to hear about the difficulties of some of these people's lives. And the horrors, the absolute horrors that go on in them. And it might be hard sometimes to see what some of the worst of them do. I write about good people, bad people, broken people. I write about people who are monsters. And you should not have sympathy for them, no matter what I reveal. I write about wolves in wolves' clothing, and sheep in wolves' clothing, and wolves in sheep's clothing, and everything else in between. And I don't regret any of it. The stories, the good times, the hard adventures. My work isn't for everyone. I think that's fine. I don't think our work should have to be for everyone. I don't think that we have to be for everyone. But I think that we're encouraged to be, aren't we? We're encouraged to try to live in a way where everyone's happy. But I don't think that's a reasonable position to take. I don't think expecting happiness is a good thing. At least not expecting it to just be performed and done and be made available. I don't think we should have to feel like we have to make other people happy. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. But I'm pretty sure if we decide not to do that, well, someone's going to be unhappy, right? If we decide not to make everyone happy. We're bound to disappoint someone. So let them be disappointed. I'd like to say thank you for everyone who's joined me today. We ended up with an interesting abstract piece. Honestly, at this point in time, I think I could do a lot more with it. I think I could achieve something truly beautiful. But at the same time, I think I've already achieved a lot that already is beautiful. And heck, maybe I should just be happy with it, right? Maybe I should just be happy with what I've made so far. I think I'll actually call that good for now. Hopefully it's something enjoyable for you to see. Hopefully you've liked where we've ended up. I've talked about so many different things, haven't I? I've just gone off on subject and subject and subject. But I give so many opportunities. So many opportunities to explore. So many things to think about. And this character here that I've painted, maybe it's not Kindly, and maybe it's not Kitty, and maybe it's not Ruby, and maybe it's not Carlotta, and maybe it's not Maybe, and dozens of other characters I've created. Maybe it's not Nemesis or any of these other people, but the spirit is there. We did a lot. We've come a long way. So depending on where you're joining me, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, LinkedIn or Twitter, there will be links somewhere nearby so that you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Twitch, or you can find my website and get yourself an art print or an original piece. There's also going to be links for my stories, and I'd appreciate it if you read them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for this. Thank you for listening to my stories. Let's take a little wet brush here and add a little bit more here. Change that up, give it texture. I feel like I could do so much more here, but I also feel like I don't want to ruin it. We got here together. It took a few hours of painting to get here, a couple hours of painting to get here. Hour and a half last week, hour and a half today. Should we paint this more? That's actually where I'm going to end this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to do anything more to this today, but I would like you to tell me, should we keep painting? Is the first almost 3 hours of painting this piece, is that enough? Should we do more? Should we make more? Should we explore this character more? Maybe this character isn't done. Maybe it is. But I invite you to give me your perspective, your thoughts, your ideas. Tell me what you think. Thank you so much to DJ, Silver Fox Talks, for joining me. Thank you for other people whose names I couldn't see, but I saw that you were here. Thank you to Kara over on LinkedIn for joining. Thank you. And everyone else. Thank you. Take care. Be excellent. And I will see you all again very soon. And you know what? I think I'll just make a poll. I'll make a poll. I'll ask everyone out there whether I should keep painting this or not. Let me know. But I'll see you all again real soon. And I will be joining you Wednesday morning for my quick morning inspirational live stream. And then I'll see you again next Saturday. Take care, everybody.